Hello everyone and welcome to another Timeless video. So today we're going to be taking a look at Energy Ritual deck in Timeless format. So currently the metagame has shifted to Boros Energy that's generically good at the moment, beating a lot of decks. But then there's also Show and Tell decks that are trying to prey upon Boros Energy since the deck can straight up win the game on turn 3. And this deck on the other hand, we're trying to go over both of them using this card called Birthing Ritual. In the main board, we got 2 copies of Boromir, which shuts down Omniscience and opponent's Amped Raptors. But post sideboard, we also got 3 copies of Archon of Emeria, which is also going to be really good versus Show and Tell as well. Even though we're only playing 5 cards that could shut down the Omnitel, the fact that we are playing 4 copies of Birthing Ritual, which looks at the top 7 cards of your deck every single turn, is going to bring the consistency up in getting our hate cards onto the board, which is going to be the plan here. And versus other control decks that are trying to go over Boros Energy by shoving in a bunch of board wipes in the deck, we have 4 copies of Voice of Resurgence, which actually pairs pretty nicely with Birthing Ritual. Even if you get board wipe, Voice of Resurgence still leaves a creature onto the battlefield, or if you have Boromir as well, you can even protect your creatures against Wrath of the Skies, giving all your creatures indestructible. But let's say if you aren't expecting a lot of board wipes, you could even sacrifice Voice of Resurgence, since it does leave a body on the battlefield to the Birthing Ritual, and you get another card out of it. And obviously, if you do get the Voice of Resurgence down, it is just really good versus other control decks. And lastly, another card that this deck can Birthing Ritual into is Colossus. So there's a lot of flaws at the moment in Timeless format, and if you can land Colossus against other control decks or any decks with flaws, this card is just going to take over the game. So having said that, I'm going to be hopping over to some Timeless Best of 3 to show you guys how the deck does. So let's hop on over. This hand's okay, but it's not the greatest, I guess. Island. Really good card to put it in there. That kind of stinks, right? The fact that I had to fetch a green source because I have Nantuko, it does kind of stink. Already 6 cards in the yard, so if I do get a red source, I am just going to reanimate this Flodge here. Yeah, so if I get a land, I guess I win the game. Not today. Unfortunate. We would have had it there. Okay, not bad. They fire off Brainstorm. The Misty Rainforest. Gonna attack with this. Play out the Oscillate Pride. And pass. Rexus. Okay, it's a Death Shadow deck. Yeah, I'm gonna start just jamming in Philology now. Because I'm gonna be able to do it again. So they probably got another mana drain out of it. Toxic Deluge? I wouldn't have grabbed that at all. What? Interesting. That is a nice pickup I got. So they're playing the Tybalt, some Tybalt deck that is trying to... Okay. I'm gonna pass the turn because I have a Voice of Resurgence. I mean, they can't use Toxic Deluge anymore, so... I guess better have something else. So they're playing the Jace combo deck, huh? So Jace into Valky. But the fact that they're playing Toxic Deluge, like, maybe they're also playing Death Shadow though. I don't know. I mean, for sure, Endurance is coming in. I don't think we want Haywire Might. Boromir is also really good because they play Toxic... No, wait. Can I read Toxic Deluge? I think it's actually -X, -X. Okay, never mind. Boromir doesn't do anything. How did they know that I was going to play Boromir? I think I'm going to cut Nantuko. Excellent. Excelente. Okay, swamp. Let's attack. I wonder if it's actually Amped Raptor here. Nah, it has to be Voice of Resurgence. Because that'll let me get Colossus in, right? Like, Colossus here is so good. And because of Voice of Resurgence, they're most likely going to tap out. Yeah, they're gonna tap out here. So we're gonna put in a Colossus in. And that's gonna be so good against them. Colossus should be absolutely insane versus them now. So they don't have 3 islands for the Mystic Sanctuary, so let's just get rid of a Demonic Tutor here. You don't want to do that. I have a Voice of Resurgence. Uh-oh. Let's put an Amped Raptor down. Endurance. That actually might have been a throw, because the Colossus became a creature. Ah, well. What can you do? Oh, never mind. Wow. What a tech versus Voice of Resurgence, right? Pretty good. Pretty good. Earthing Ritual is actually pretty sick. I think I'm just going to pass with the Birthing Ritual. Ooh, a Flodge. Or a Boromir. Boromir or Flodge? There's 3 cards in the art. This is gonna be 4th. It's actually pretty tempting to go Flodge here. But I kind of want some pressure. And Malicious Eclipse literally just doesn't do anything. I'm gonna go with the Boromir here. Sauron's Ransom. That's really unfortunate they got a Mishra's Bauble with the Fatal Push. Cool thing is they can't actually crack the Mishra's Bauble here. Hey, maybe Boromir was actually really good. Let's go with an Amped Raptor. And I'll go Voice of Resurgence. Probably sacrifice it to the Birthing Ritual. We actually didn't get what we wanted. So this one already exiles, right? Yeah, that's a bit unfortunate. That's a bit unfortunate. It's a pretty nice combo there. Guide of Souls or Voice of Resurgence. I think we actually go for Voice of Resurgence. Because it's just so annoying for them. They gotta use the Fatal Push now. They went with an Orcish Bowmaster instead. Let's grab that. Lodge? No Lodge. No Flodge. Gonna let this through. No, thank you. Boromir. I mean, my opponent is dead in so many multiple different ways that, yeah, I don't know. Like, Birthing Ritual is just so sick against them. Birthing Ritual and Voice of Resurgence and Colossus. My god, it's just... What a control killer. Okay. We got a banned something. Yeah, it does definitely seem like banned control, perhaps. I think I would probably want to just play a Voice of Resurgence over the Amped Raptor, just because I do think Amped Raptor is a bit better in terms of value. But if, let's say opponent doesn't have, you know, a counter spell, I guess Voice of Resurgence would have been better, right? So... I do wonder, this matchup, though. Banned control, huh? Getting a Voice of Resurgence down already is kind of sick. That also landed. We also got a Boromir. So now we have a board wipe protection. Which is sick. So let's see what they do. I wonder if it's Nexus. Okay, it is. Uro. So So sideboard, we have to bring in some endurance and haywire mites. Pretty lucky. Pretty lucky for them having double Nexus there. They have completely stabilized. Okay. Even if I played maybe 100 games, I don't think I could do that. Chaining off 3 Nexuses without a single tutor spells or anything. Yeah, I mean, I've played a fair share of, you know, Wilderness Reclamation with Nexus of Fate, but yeah, that's just... you can't do that. So they're kind of getting away with this. If my next spell gets countered, I think I'll just go to the next game. So let's see. There we go. Let's go to the next game. So Blood Moon's in. Usually actually, do we even bring Blood Moon? The thing is, I actually slotted in this Blood Moon to play with the Giganta, but I forgot to actually put the Giganta back in. So I'll probably do that after. Galvanic Discharge seems kind of awful. So let's go with this. Yikes. Unfortunate. We got the short end of the stick. We have gotten the short end of the stick. I think Guide Up Souls is a lot better into an Amped Raptor, because that allows us to play a 3-mana card off of the Amped Raptor here. Ah, that's pretty good. Conversely, if I just play the Ocelot Pride, it would have been actually better. But honestly, like, any deck can look, like, insane. If you have an opponent mulliganing down to 5 and... So, yeah. Impressive. I don't think it would have mattered because they probably had mana drain there anyways. Yep. Swords. That's a good one. So if I draw land, I can animate the Flodge. I would need... Let's see, I would need a fetch land. Yeah, fetch land would be nice here. Hey, we got it. We got it. Okay. We did the thing. We did the thing. Okay, instead of... I mean, Boromir, they surely have a board wipe, right? That's why I want to keep the Boromir. Maybe Endurance is kind of bad because we have Colossus. Yeah, maybe we don't even have Endurance as a sideboard. I mean, for sure, after this game, I am going to change the sideboard so that we have a Giganta for sure. Because, I mean, that's something that should be in there, but it's not at the moment. This one's interesting. Yeah, it's a bit interesting, isn't it? We do have a Blood Moon, which is really good. But we currently don't have the right... We drew the wrong fetch. We only played 2 copies of Wooded Foothill, and this is the one we drew. Which is a bit of a shame. I'm hoping opponent doesn't have, you know... 1-mana counterspell yet again. Yeah, it seems like they do. I wonder how many copies they play, because it seems a little bit too consistent, right? Yeah, it does seem like super consistent. Okay, we'll top that. I mean, you're gonna have to run out of counterspell someday. No? Okay. 4 cars in the yard. They got a permanent or some sort. I do wonder if I should just jam this Blood Moon in. I feel like I think I am. Yeah, I think I am going to just jam this Blood Moon in if this birthing ritual gets countered. Like, sure, we can't play a lot of cards here, but I think in the end, it's going to be for the better, right? Like, look.
I will prove my worth to my pride.
Nice. Okay, we're gonna put Giganta in. Because that's actually supposed to be in the deck. Ooh, that's pretty bad, right? Oh, but I guess Guide Up Souls does give you energy. I mean, it does kind of depend on whether or not I have... Okay, we got it. At least we got it. We got another red source. Okay, the reason why I didn't play the Windswept Heath is because they shocked in a watery grave. I'm like, there's no way. My opponent could play a Stifle, and I'm kind of traumatized by Stifles at this point, so, you know, just a tiny bit being a little bit careful there. I think my opponent's actually just playing Omnitel. If this is an Omnitel and this lands and I get... Okay, it's not. Swords. Rude. Okay, we got a bit lucky. They're all 1-mana cards. I guess it's better than an Amped Raptor though. Esper Control. Are we only going to play against Control tonight? Maybe. Possibly. I genuinely thought it was gonna be... Huh. I thought it was gonna be a mana drain. We'll see. That also stuck. I don't know how. Did my opponent miss the window? Like, what's happening? Oh no. Maybe they don't know what the Voice of Resurgence does. I mean, just... This card is so good. This card is so good. I am wondering if I should sideboard at all. What do you think? We already have Voice of Resurgence main deck, which should be like a premium sideboard card versus opponent's deck. Same with the Boromir. Like, I'm actually wondering if I should even sideboard. Maybe because of an Orcish Bowmaster instead of a Nantuko, we go Blood Moon instead. That's a no for me. Oh, another one. We don't like to see that. In the bottom of Lodge. I think I'm actually going to pass here. I think I want to surveil here. Super nice. And we'll go Johnny. I wonder if this is like an Esper Stoneblade. Yeah, I do wonder. I'm trying to get this thing out because it's really good against Bowmaster.
Nothing is more important than family.
And I'd rather have these get Bowmastered instead of an Oscillate Pride. Land would be so nice. Okay, we have to Static Prison that. Yeah, I think we have to static prison that. Let's attack first. We'll go also let Pride. I'll go into Amped Raptor. Okay, fair enough. Into Fatal Push. Binding. Binding. I wonder if that deck has any, like, life gain. Well, this is not the greatest place to be, isn't it? Yeah, it is definitely not the best place to be. I don't know which one's better, actually. Is it just attack face? Maybe I'm supposed to actually attack, like, hit the face here. Like, do we care about Orcish Bowmaster? I think we just try to get my opponent to keep losing life as much as possible. We do have another Galvanic Discharge, so... Dig through time as well. Rarely see one ring plus a dig through time together. Teferi!
I know what must be done. Let's skip to the good part.
I did not expect that. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, I did not expect that. Why do they have, like, upkeep stops? This is, like, not the first time they did this?
Let me know if
Yeah, I think the name of the game is try to get my opponent dead with their one ring. It is kind of a pipe dream, I'm not gonna lie. It's gonna be hard. Yeah, another upkeep stop. Wandering Emperor.
I'm not overconfident. You're just underwhelming. Guards!
Wandering Emperor. My opponent is not afraid of going down to 3. A sneaky bolt would kill them if I had one. Land top deck, please.
We've got the edge in this fight.
Any land top decks? Kind of miserable when you draw like this.
Try not to miss me.
Yeah. What happened here? I mean, my opponent has a million cards. It's probably right to just go to the next one. I just don't see this Floch coming down anytime soon. You know? Although if they're not... Like, if they don't have a counterspell at the moment... probably not. The thing is, they only use 2 mana drains and a counterspell, so... So what happened this game? How did all of these die? Oh yeah, I remember now. I mulliganed, but I still had a 1-lander, and then we couldn't play a card on turn 1. So we had to grab a Surveil land. And after that, I think it got countered, removed. And then the Orcish Bowmaster came down. And then we drew double birthing rituals, double static prisons, so we actually didn't have any creatures for the birthing rituals. Okay. GG's. So, discharge out, for sure. Haywire's in. Maybe I'll even have Phyrexian Revoker. I'm gonna keep this one, even though this one's kind of awful, but it's, like, still decent, you know? Is it Amped Raptor or a Johnny? I'm gonna go with the Johnny.
It's not perfect, but we have peace.
Oh, if I can get that thing down here, it would have been so sick. It would have been so sick there.
Where shall we hunt today?
So probably just attack with the two ones. Let's go with an Oscillate Pride. Okay, they don't have anything, so I'm just going to go with the Voice of Resurgence. Now, if they even draw a counter spell, it's not gonna be a good time. Voice of Resurgence is such a good card. Like, especially now, we're gonna, like... Now we're gonna play Colossus, right? That's sick. Binding. Sick. I wonder if it's actually a bait, though. I don't know. Let's say they get a 1 ring down, then I'd have to have a static prison here, right? So I think this is actually for the better. Okay, it actually worked out, right? What a card, Voice of Resurgence. So we know that they just drew this, otherwise they would have leyline binding the Voice of Resurgence. Okay, so kind of a weird day today, right? We actually played against 3 control decks, I believe. Like back to back to back. It was actually 4, but because it was a person that I actually played against before, and we have also one there as well. I mean, 4 control decks in a row, and we just kind of crushed it. So we didn't get to really see the Nantuko too much because we only have 2 copies of it. It did come down once, but I think it got Orcish Bowmaster. Like, this is not a turn 2 play unless you bestow. And also, it's not a very good target from an Amped Raptor on turn 2 because it could just get Bowmastered as well. So I think in a build with less legendary cards, so you can abuse the bestow a little bit better, I think it would be sick, but because we're trying to avoid getting show and tell, we have 2 copies of Boromir, and we also have a bunch of Archons as well, right? Because we're trying to avoid getting show and tell too much, I think Nantuko is not particularly a good card in this deck, so we only play 2 copies of it. We just want to top deck this at a later date, so we can copy, I don't know, something like a Voice of Resurgence, Guide of Souls, Oscillate Pride, things like that. You copy a 1-mana card, like, is it that good? I don't know. I guess copying Oscillate Pride would probably be the best. Like, the synergy here is kind of insane, right? So, I don't know, maybe you do play Nantuko, I'm not sure. As you can see, that there's 3 cards here that you can copy with the Nantuko, so I'm not really a huge fan of this. I guess you could copy the Amped Raptor, but that only gives you 2 energy, which is not particularly exciting, right? So that's kind of my beef with the Nantuko there, but what I will say is the birthing ritual into something like Colossus is so sick. So last time I played a Gruul deck, Colossus there has been absolutely stellar. And again, today, we played against a lot of control decks with a lot of board wipes and things like that. So Boromir and Colossus got a lot of value. And this card is just so good versus control. Not only is it really good against control, but just in general, right? Like let's say opponent just flodges once, and now you have to deal with flodge, but Colossus says no. So unless opponent has exactly 7 mana, and for some reason you don't have Colossus, right, on the battlefield, then they could like flodge and escape immediately. But the fact that like the birthing ritual always like looks at the top 7 cards, like top 7 is a lot, right? Like you're digging a lot, so playing 2 copies of Colossus, like you are going to find Colossus eventually. Like that's how powerful this birthing ritual is. Just the ability to like dig hate cards like Colossus is like so sick. Same with Boromir. So even though we are only playing 2 copies of Boromir, post sideboard we also have 3 copies of Archon as well. So let's say like 3 copies of Archon here. Let's say you're playing against a show and tell, right? 3 copies of Archon, 4 copies of Birthing Ritual, and 2 copies of Boromir. Like, you are going to hit these cards. And it's going to be a great time versus show and tell. So I quite like that. But one last thing I do want to mention is I did have a non-game at the very start. I played against the mono black vampire. I decided to keep a 1-lander. Does seem that against that deck it's a bit hard. Like if they reanimate something like Elenda early, those kind of matchups, I wish we had a flute in the sideboard so we can name Soren, for example. Currently, we have 2 copies of Phyrexian Revoker just because this is a creature, but it does die to Bowmaster, and I'm not quite sure if this is actually the card that you want to be playing. But currently, I have the Phyrexian Revoker in there for now, just because it's a creature that you can hit with the Birthing Ritual. And that's also another reason why we're playing Haywire Might instead of other ways of getting rid of enchantments or artifacts, just because this is also a creature you can hit with the Birthing Ritual. Another cool trick is if you attack with the Oscillate Pride, if you order it properly so that the cat gets summoned at the end of the turn before the Birthing Ritual happens, then you can also sacrifice the token that you created. That's why Oscillate Pride is actually really, really good in this deck. So yeah, again, another deck with Birthing Ritual. Every time I played with this card, I am quite impressed with this. So yeah, give it a go. I think this deck was actually fantastic. But if you're playing against a lot more show and tells, you might want to consider more copies of Boromir, or even main decking Archon of Lemuria. Even though the Archon does shut down your own Amped Raptors, that's basically going to be your last resort, right? I'm only playing the Archon just because it is a creature that shuts down a show and tell deck that also gets hit by the birthing ritual. So yeah, that's gonna be it for today's video. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys all in the next one. Bye bye.